With the LiDAR ground filter function, we can remove non-ground points during a LiDAR import. This function will assist with the removal of trees, vehicles, power lines, etc. from the LiDAR files before importing as a surface. Let's take a closer look at the options associated with this function. Let's first turn off our existing surfaces. Then, in our survey mode, we go to Tools, LiDAR Processing, Ground Filter. Choose the LiDAR file to process. Ideally, this LiDAR file should not already be thinned out. We have the option to discard the points that are flagged as non-ground points. In that case, non-ground points are filtered and gaps are left in the newly created surface. Alternatively, when selecting Extrapolate onto ground, points determined to be non-ground points will be extrapolated onto what is determined to be the ground beneath. Clicking on the Advanced Settings gives us the access to further customize the settings applicable to the algorithm used. This setting is optional and only necessary if the default settings provide unsatisfactory output results. The first three options here are used to produce a minimum surface grid for ground or non-ground classification. The two elevation options determine the elevation difference between the ground and non-ground points. The number of ground neighbors is the number of nearby ground points to consider when determining the height above ground for a non-ground class point. We have the option to revert back to the default settings. Specify where the output file needs to be written. If we choose not to proceed with the import LiDAR, then the file will only be written, and we won't proceed with the rest of the importing process. We receive this confirmation dialog as to where the output file is written and a comparison of the original point and the filtered point count. Note that we are using the discard function here, so approximately 2,400 points were filtered and removed. Due to us previously selecting to proceed with the import LiDAR option, we now get this dialog where we have the newly created discarded LiDAR file and the option to further thin the LiDAR data. Select destination surface of choice. I'm going to leave out the thin data option so we can see the result of just the ground filter function. Clicking on import, we get confirmation of coordinates. Turning on the display of our points, we can see the surface that has been created. For further graphical display, I'm going to triangulate to emphasize the discarded points. Let's compare that to the Extrapolate option. Back to Survey Mode, Tools, LiDAR Processing, Ground Filter. Selecting the same original LiDAR file, clicking on the Extrapolate onto Ground option and then specifying a different output file. This time I'm going to use a destination of surface 4. Returning to the control center, we can see the difference between the two filter options.